Today we're going to discuss the proposed National Wellbeing Survey, the so-called Happiness Survey. Are these any use? Do they apply to organisations? These are two key questions that we're going to put to Noeleen Doherty. Now, Noeleen is an expert in the area of wellbeing, particularly in organisations and their value. So Noeleen, are such surveys any use? Can you really measure happiness?
I think it's a very worthy endeavour, Steve. If you think about our condition as humans, we are constantly in pursuit of happiness, and to try and find a litmus test of that, I think is a useful thing. Bringing it into sharper relief in the organisational situation, if we think of happiness as one component of well-being, it's a very important thing for organisations to consider.
I would want to say why. I mean, it's all very nice in a happy club to say happiness is a great thing. If I'm interested in the bottom line, I can't always see that connection.
Okay, sure. I think some research would be very useful in elucidating that. Measures of wealth or material well-being, such as GDP, have been shown to not correlate entirely with measures of happiness. A very good example, some research has been done on lottery winners, for example. Those who win the lottery, yes, have a transient peak in terms of their happiness, but after a while it comes back to a baseline norm. So I think that highlights the fact that happiness can be a transient state. But we also have to take into consideration the contextual factors that impact a person's ability to feel happy or well in themselves.
Now, it's this perspective that I'm interested in. If I'm a manager and I'm hearing the word contextual aspects, I can't really get my head around it. But there's some key things, I guess, that as a manager I need to pay attention to. What are they? I
think that's very important to think about the organisational context. I would suggest the key issues are around organisational climate. What's the organisational context like? And this isn't a new issue, it's not a new area. For some time, psychologists have been looking at organisational climate and context in terms of how it sets the scene for individuals' day-to-day experience of work.
And I guess on the negative side, you can get people with a lot of stress. On the positive side, you can get people, feeling not only happy, but motivated and positive.
That's right, and I think there are some particular things that organisations can do. For example, they can institute policies and practices which make sure they've got good management practices. It's the individual's day-to-day experience of the work context that will contribute to happiness and well-being.
So I need to pay attention to whether it's going up or down and what I can do about that.
That's right, and I think it's not should we measure happiness, it's how well do we and can we measure it. And there are ways in which organisations can take a litmus test of how well people are feeling in their organisational context. And again, these sorts of surveys and approaches have been around for some time. You can have employee commitment surveys and morale surveys, climate surveys. And it's how good the measurement indices are and how regularly organisations tend to use these so that they've got a baseline and can measure over time what their employees are feeling.
And the benefits of doing this?
The benefits of doing this, I think, are quite clear to managers. First of all, it gives them an index of how well things are going within the organisational context. Happiness, as I said earlier, is a transient state, so if you measured it daily, there might be fluctuations, but the ability for an organisation to track well-being over time is a very useful litmus test of how well policies and practices are being implemented.
And is that true across the piece? I mean, I can imagine an SME, for instance, saying, these are all very well for big organisations, but it's not for me.
I think for SMEs, it's actually more important. If you consider that an SME might have one person out of action, it would be quite considerable in terms of the impact that it would have in that context. So SMEs are really would be well advised to look at this issue as well.
Now, I've read somewhere that such surveys are becoming more popular. Is that so?
I think there's a surge now among organisations to actually realise the importance of looking at employee well-being or happiness as a part of that. I believe that organisations such as the IIP and the CIPD are currently promoting more open discussion and debate and sharing of good practice across organisations.
So there's a general feeling then that these things are a good thing and they're useful. If you were to sum up and say, from a sceptical point of view, such as I'm coming from, what use are these things and are they any good? How would you answer?
Well, I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said people are as happy as they let themselves be. So I think it's important to recognise that, yes, there is an individual propensity to be more or less happy, but that's not totally hardwired. The context can make a big impact on how an individual experiences their work life and how that contributes to their life satisfaction. So there is an onus, I feel, on organisations to make sure that they create a climate and perpetuate a climate where employee well-being is key.
Noeleen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.